We are breaking down the first night of the Bachelor in Paradise finale. Who is getting engaged and who is leaving brokenhearted? Hey guys, and welcome back to another Shared News. We are coming at you live today to talk about last night's episode of Bachelor in Paradise. So make sure you are putting all of your thoughts in the live chat so we can hear what you're thinking. I'm Allison Van Dam, joined today by Morgan Wright and Kayla Thompson. Ladies, what did you think of last night's episode? And are you ready to be done with the season? Because I myself feel like it's been going on for years.
Literally, when you asked what did you make of last night's episode, my first thought was I'm glad it's almost over. So, I'm
Yeah,
right there with you.
can't lie. I mean, we're all glad it's almost over because it's been like 6 episodes longer than it usually is. But also, I think it's just like we want to know how everything ended. We want to know, like, the difference between the end of like how they ended on the beach versus like the reunion. Like, we're just ready to like get that resolution. So I'm excited about tonight for sure. But yeah, there's a lot to dive
Yes,
in
let's
about
wrap
last
up
night
this
too.
season, figure out what happens tonight, but we'll recap yesterday so we can feel very prepared for tonight's kind of finale and reunion portion. So let's dive into where this episode started. It is rose ceremony night. Mara is there. She's sitting in the middle of the couch of everyone else. She is in the middle of couples. It's like me at Thanksgiving every year. And she says that it's painfully obvious that her person is not there and she's going to self eliminate. So we see her leave. It's hard to be one of the final people at the beach. You know, everyone's coupled up. No one really no one wants to risk the connection they already have to try something new. So I definitely feel for her. Hopefully she doesn't, regret coming because at the end of the day, she got a little vacation out of it, but I'm hoping she can find some love. But they then announced that we're not going to do a cocktail hour at all. There is no time to discuss. We are going to head right into the rose ceremony. So this is kind of the final roses of Bachelor in Paradise. So Jesse Palmer encourages them to really think about what this rose means. If they accept it, it means they see a future with them. And once they're leaving to go get ready for the rose ceremony, Aaron doesn't help Genevieve down the stairs and doesn't look back at her, which then makes her spiral, makes her not even want to go to the rose ceremony. She's suddenly questioning everything. Morgan, are these two ever not fighting or threatening to like leave and meeting up in the jungle path? Because it feels like we're just on a repeating record.
They are never not fighting. Even as this season airs, we see them fighting on Twitter. It's like they cannot
Yeah,
stop
Mm-hmm.
fighting with
so
each
true.
other, which is why, I know we'll get into this a little bit later, but to me, the outcome is not that surprising. I'm surprised how it
Mm.
happened, but I'm not surprised that it did happen. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
just, these two, I don't want to say toxic because I think that's a little far. They're just not good communicators towards each other. They don't speak the same language. So I'm glad that they decided
Yes.
to go their separate ways.
So glad.
Kayla, what did
So
you
happy.
think about when Victoria was basically implying that the reason they fight so much is because they're in love? Are you on that side? Or are you thinking the same way as Morgan? Like, they are not
Sheesh.
made for each other. This is toxic. They need to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, I think that, a lot of people say that. A lot of people think, like, I know Eliza, I think, said in an earlier episode, oh, if you're not arguing, then the love isn't there, something like that. And I think that I think that's a kind of, I don't know, maybe immature way to look at love. I think that they're just not good communicators. I think they
Yeah.
feel very
Mm-hmm.
passionately about each other. And I think they're both passionate people. But at the end of the day, like, they're just not a good mix. I don't think it has anything to do with like their love for each other. I think it's just, they just clash. Some people just butt heads. So yeah, and I think they just have individual problems on their own
Totally.
they need to go figure out. So
They are bringing out the frustration, the fight. They're like really just like I feel like they're poking each other at this point. Every time one of them does something,
yeah,
it angers the other person. So moving into the
right.
rose ceremony though, they do Aaron gives Genevieve his rose, so it seems like everything's fine. Everyone is accepting each other's roses, implying that they see a future until we get to Logan and Kate. Now Logan offers his rose to Kate. And Kate decides to have a moment of a speech. This is not the first time she's done this when typically people just say yes or no and give each other a kiss. She's decided that this is her time to really speak her mind. Kate says that Logan is projecting when he says that she's critical and talks down to him. She says she doesn't see a future and love with him. And she says, I know what I want, and this isn't it. Logan then says that Kate didn't like what he brought to the table, but he liked Kate for who she is. His sense of who he is has gotten lost in the process of trying to please her. And Kate, in the car ride out, says, please, God, bring me a man with a big and an even bigger bank account. So, I mean, Kate is letting her priorities be known. She's talked about his car. She's talked about his finances, how he can't afford to work out in Equinox. Like, talk about two people who are kind of bringing out the worst in each other. And I just feel like Logan has tried so hard to please her, and it doesn't feel like it's ever enough. Morgan, were you surprised by them ending things here? And what did you think of Kate's whole speech moment?
I did not like Kate's speech. The only, devil's advocate benefit of the doubt that I will give her in this moment is that they weren't able to talk before, right? Jesse kind of came in and sprung it on them last second. So maybe she was going to say this not in a rose ceremony environment, but because of that little plot twist, she wasn't able to do so. That is like the one sliver of benefit of the doubt I'm giving her. But I'm sorry to say that Logan is projecting. He's not projecting. We saw every single thing that you said come out of your mouth. That's not projection. It might be a little bit of delusion on your end, Kate, but like,
Yeah.
are you just pretending like you didn't say those things? And, for somebody who wants to really she was very critical of Logan. I think she did really look down towards him. I think she thought that she was a lot better than him. Doesn't make for a good partner in a relationship. So even though she thought all of these things about him, we're now seeing kind of the tables be turned when it comes to public perception, where everybody thinks, Logan is the great catch in this situation. And, they're saying, I wouldn't want to date somebody like Kate. So it seems like her sense of reality might be a little off in this scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that Kate shot herself in the foot with that speech because like she could have said it earlier, but it just still shows her lack of self-awareness. I think that it's funny that Aaron and Genevieve want to talk about like Genevieve's like we'll talk about it later, but you want to say it's all me, and it's like Kate is absolutely doing that. Like she is absolutely putting all of it on Logan when I've said it before. It's like her real issues with Logan, he can't change. So it just makes her look really kind of just mean because there's nothing he can do about his age. There's nothing he can do about what's he going to do? Get 6 figures tomorrow after a conversation? There's nothing he can do. So it's just kind of like, Kate, just move on. She should have been moved on weeks ago, but she's dragged it out and dragged him into it and made him feel bad and made him feel like he's not doing enough. It's like, it's just kind of all around. I don't know. It's hard for me to be like, oh no, Kate, I get it. Cause I'm like, yeah, no, you should have just let this kid go like way before this. So I felt bad for him. I really did. And I think at the end of the day, like Morgan's right. I think she ended up shooting herself in the foot and making Logan look kind of like, yeah, like we're siding with him because you just dragged him through the mud for kind of nothing. And it just felt mean. It felt, it wasn't
Well,
cool.
and it's felt
Didn't
like
like
there's
it.
no way for him to win. She gave him that speech at the last rose ceremony saying, it feels like there's something here, but I need more. Show me that you want me, put the effort in. He then finds a way to send her a drink while she's getting ready. And then she turns to all of her girls and she says, well, Logan sent me this drink, but it was free, so it doesn't really count. It's like, well, he can't pay for it. We're in the middle of paradise. We're not out at a bar.
Right.
Like,
What
there
do
is
you
no
want from
way
him?
for him to win in these scenarios. He's trying to find little ways to step up to the plate. But like you said, Kayla, he can't just go and make 6 figures within the next 2 days, and he's trying to do these little things. And she struck me as someone who might never be satisfied, which is a very challenging partner to have. So I'm like, Logan, go find someone who will appreciate the little things, because I'm not sure that's Kate. But anyways, after that dramatic kind of breakup, they both leave. We move on to the next day. Now that the rose ceremony is over, Jesse announces that, Paradise is coming to a close and it's time to decide what the future holds. Are you here for an engagement? Do you want to leave together? Are you leaving separate? obviously surprising no one. Brandon and Serene tell each other that they are all in. They're going to love each other forever. Tyler and Brittany decide to leave together. They're not ready for an engagement, but they can see that in the future. Shanae pulls Joey aside. She immediately starts crying. He looks completely confused. She's saying that she wants someone who's more independent, but he disagrees with that. She said she feels like his fun, cool aunt and not his girlfriend, and that she doesn't want to be with someone who lives with their parents and just dances on TikTok. Now, this clearly rubs Joey the wrong way. I found Joey on TikTok. He only has like 8 videos up on TikTok, so I'm not really sure where she got this impression that that's all he does. But the best moment for me, it made me laugh out loud, was when Joey was so heartbroken over Shanae and says, and what makes it even worse is that I see Justin with such a beautiful relationship with Flo, and seeing Justin in love, it's so hard. Cut to the scene of Justin and Flo, and they both just look at each other and they go, yeah, I don't think we should continue this. Nope, I don't either. Sounds good. Nice to meet you. Like, they were so up and done. We see the twins leave together. Joey's still so mad about the comments about not being a man. And Justin has the quote of the episode where he says, "You're more of a man than she ever could be." So, thoughts on the twins? I don't know who wants to start. Kayla, let me know what you think about Joey and Justin's exit.
Well, okay, so I like that they undercut it with a laugh when it came to Flo and Justin, because honestly, like, I don't know. Maybe I was just annoyed this episode, but I was kind of bothered by Shanae doing that. I was just kind of like, first of all, you guys just had a rose ceremony last night. So why did you accept his rose if the next day you're going to break up with him? Like, I kind of felt like that about everybody who broke up the next day. I was like, this is giving, okay. But I just was like, yo, Shanae, just communicate better than this. Like, I expect her at her age to be able to like filter what not to say and what to say. Like, it's not his fault that he's 24. Like, you're judging him off of something that, and he kept saying, like, you've never brought this up, you've never said these things to me, it's not fair for you to just sit here and dump on me now. Like, it was very disrespectful, and I just felt like all you had to say is be like, listen, you know, I'm such and such age, you're 24. Like, the age difference, I just can't really get over it. I tried, but leave it at that. You're a great person, and God bless you on your way. But you don't have to sit here and cry and say all these kind of like judgments that like aren't really concrete. It just was like calling him not a man. It's just out of pocket. Like, Shanae just needs to, like, I hope she watches that back and is like, okay, I probably could have. She said it too. I probably could have said that better, because it was rude.
Yeah, she pulled a Kate. I mean, is that not what Kate did to Logan the entire season? And it's like, you would think that Shanae, being a bystander to that situation, would realize how bad it sounds and how bad it looks,
Such a good point.
and maybe not do the same exact thing to somebody, but she didn't. And yeah, like, don't hate on Justin for at age 24. I also lived at home. Like, it's a struggle. Apartments are expensive. Life sucks right now. Inflation is at an all-time high. And it's like you said, Kayla, to wait until the very last day to bring up all these major red flags, like, you knew the whole entire time that these were issues. So if I'm sorry, I don't know if it was Justin or Joey. I don't know which one it was. I'm thinking the whole entire time that our relationship was fake. Like, I don't think any of it was real. And that is like what makes me more mad. And also, this scene with them in the car, I was cracking up. It made me wish that we had seen more of them on the actual show, because they got no screen time whatsoever.
Yeah. And I just want to add one thing.
Some more twin moments. Yeah.
Yes, because I feel like they're funny, but also, like, it's kind of interesting that, like, I don't know, to me, like, they're younger, but they kind of communicated better than, like, did y'all feel that way? Like, I feel like, yes, they're 24, but they were able to communicate better than y'all. Like, I don't know. Some of these older people are making me nervous. I'm really like, you at your big age, I really expect more from you. Like, I don't know, but let me get off that.
Yeah, and it is interesting though, because like you said, Morgan, like, from their date on, from the twin date when they kind of, I felt like Shanae kind of went on it potentially as a joke, and then we see a couple rose ceremonies go by of them exchanging roses. I would be in the exact same boat as, like you said, Joey's probably in, of thinking, okay, why did you just kind of then lead me on up until this point if you never saw it going anywhere? I mean, I guess you could argue the same with Flo and Justin, but I feel like they were more so on the same page of maybe they were just here for a good time. At least their breakup seemed not really like a breakup, more of like a high five and wish you the best. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if we hear anything from them on social media after this airs, if we get any feedback from the twins. But moving on to our next breakup, Aaron and Genevieve. Aaron, they pulls her aside. He says that he's dedicated his entire time on the beach to Genevieve. He fell in love. But then he also says that their time on Bachelor in Paradise is the easiest their relationship is going to get. And that in the real world, he needs a relationship with security, he needs a teammate, and that he can't continue this relationship because of he doesn't feel like they have those aspects. It doesn't feel very secure. It feels like, she's leaving a lot or they're getting into arguments. And Genevieve is completely silent, which surprised me. I mean, obviously, maybe she was taken aback by this whole thing, but she really had no words. Aaron was just kind of filling the silence and filling the silence. She then leaves, goes to pack, realizes that she didn't actually say anything that she wanted to say and felt like Aaron put everything on her. She circles back to Aaron, sits back down with him, says, "You tried to put everything on me." He disagrees. Like it was the perfect kind of breakup for the two of them because they just don't communicate well. They are never on the same page. And then Aaron says that she can pack her bags and he won't come up to stop her. And she says, "I promise I don't want you to." And Genevieve ends it by saying, "It makes my brain itch. It doesn't pain me, but it makes it itch." Morgan, give me your thoughts about these two and their breakup, because it fits perfectly with everything we've seen from them this summer.
I think Aaron is so lame for this. I feel like Aaron did
Oh.
the same thing that Shanae did, where it was all just a big facade. It was all just a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for however reactive Genevieve may be, I feel like her feelings were at least genuine for him. I don't think he at all had genuine feelings for her. I think that that's something that will be discussed in the reunion. There's some stories circulating online right now that maybe Aaron had a girlfriend back home, maybe that he has a girlfriend now, and that they were kind of, the story. It's a tale as old as time in Bachelor Nation when somebody's casually dating someone before they go on the show, then they go on the show and now they're happily in love afterwards. I don't know. I just felt like for us to see Aaron blow up about the stupidest things is itching a form of pain. We saw him like borderline go ballistic about that. And then to be like, "It's
Yeah.
been really great, Genevieve. See you later. Like maybe we can DM each other a couple times." It was just very jarring and off-putting, and I think just completely phony. I think he's so phony.
Interesting. Now, I definitely see your point, and I see your side. I had a different perspective though. I felt like yes, I think all the things that you said are still totally valid and totally true, but within this bubble of their relationship, this was totally the right thing to do. And I think that Aaron
Oh,
had a
for
good
sure,
point.
for sure.
Like every time that there's an issue, you pack your bags and you're in the jungle path, It's like he's right. And that is a problem. This is the easiest it's gonna get. Like we're on the beach in paradise. We don't have to pay for nothing. Everybody's giving us free food. We're sitting here chilling, no work, nothing. And Genevieve's just she just always had a problem. It was like always something wrong. And he's like, okay, so let's talk about it, and then we can't talk about it, and then you want to pack your bags and leave. I don't know. It's like, I get it. And I think that Genevieve, I think it's fair for her to feel like, yo, it wasn't just me, because it's true. But she kind of like missed the point of it. It's like, it's not to sit here and point the blame at each other, but you can express like, hey, you know what? This is okay for me too, because I also felt like X, Y, and Z in our relationship. So you know what? I'm good. But she kind of did come back, and it did feel like, what are you just trying to make him feel bad? Like now you're just pointing the finger, and it's making, I don't know, just made them both look just immature, like always. And I was just like, I
Yeah.
kind of wish she would have just left it where it was. Like and just been like, that's fine. Because everyone's going to see it. Everyone's been seeing it the whole time. We can see that both
Yeah.
ends, they're at fault. So I don't know. That's how I felt. But
I
Yeah,
agree
agreed.
that
Their
they both,
personalities.
yeah, they
Yeah.
both, the decision was correct. I think the approach by Aaron was incorrect because he showed no emotion. And for you to sit there and say,
Mhm.
I did fall in love with you, but see you later, almost with like a
no,
grin on his
totally.
face,
Yeah,
just did
I hear
not
you.
feel genuine
Weird.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jarring for
And I
sure.
think it just points to they have such like contrasting personalities and such contrasting like needs and ways of expression in this relationship. We've seen this before. Aaron isn't that clingy. He's not that like reassuring. He's not that emotional. He wants to play shark and minnows with his boys. Genevieve needs that reassurance. She needs that time. She needs to feel prioritized. And then it's only until she like threatens to leave that he kind of like steps up to the plate. So it's just like it was the same in their breakup. He was very much like calm, cool, collected. Of course I'm going to hang out with my boys. Of course I'm going to do this. Like he's so convinced in everything he says and everything he does, whether it's pain and itching are the same thing or I've been prioritizing my time correctly on the beach. Like he's just so team Aaron. And I think it leaves Genevieve baffled half the time.
Yeah. It's true.
But despite this drama, we do have some happy couples. So Victoria and Johnny, they're doing well. Victoria says she feels at home with Johnny. They love each other. Victoria says she knows what she wants and she can see a life with him. Johnny said he didn't come in with expectations, but that when he met her, she flipped his world upside down. Our other happy couple that we're talking about is Danielle and Michael. Danielle says she wasn't expecting Michael. Thinks back to the first day that they met, and Michael was so excited to see her. Michael obviously talks about how much of a struggle it's been since his late wife Laura passed. Ends up showing her a compass that he had made. He had 3 compasses made, one for him, one for his late wife Laura, one for his son James back in 2018. And he has this very cute moment where he says it brought him to Danielle. Danielle wants to honor Laura, and he says that Laura would have loved her. And they decide to leave together. They're not getting engaged. Obviously, we have James to think about, Michael's son. But they look so happy in the back of the car. Like they look so happy to start a life together, to spend time with each other, to go back to the real world. So, Morgan, what do you think about this couple? Are we going to see them together tonight at the reunion? Will they be happy? Will they be engaged off the show? What are your predictions for Michael and Danielle?
I am obsessed. I mean, you guys know. I think it's such a breath of fresh air to see like mature love on these shows. And I think we also do see it with Brandon and Serene, but I also feel like even Brandon and Serene have a bit of puppy love where it's like these
Mm-hmm.
two have been through some things in life, and they
Yeah.
have a lot of things that they have to work through in order for a relationship to work. It's not like, oh, we're just going to go be Instagram influencers after this, like
Right.
Michael has a son that he has to take into consideration. Michael has, his late wife Laura's family that he has to take into consideration. So I do think that these two take it very, very seriously, which is just nice to see because I feel like we don't see a lot of that in Bachelor Nation anymore. Um, I think that they at the reunion, I think they're still going to be together. They're still going to be happy and in love, but I think they will probably move slowly, because like Michael has said a lot this season, he hasn't really loved anyone since Laura. So I feel like this kind of relationship isn't going to be like, okay, we're getting married tomorrow. Um,
For
Mm-hmm.
sure.
that being said, I do think they kind of have to face the music with Sierra. She has been, pretty vocal about how she felt she was treated by Michael and then watching it back. I just think that maybe Michael didn't completely think that breakup all the way through in the way that he handled it. But I do think deep down he's a good guy and he cares about people's feelings. So if I had to guess, I would say, they like to tease us and try to like switch things up on us. But in the teaser, we see Michael say, I'm sorry that I didn't give you the closure that you needed. And it makes it look like he's talking to Danielle, but I think he's talking to Sierra there. And I really hope that all 3 of them can move forward in a healthy mindset with, positive vibes towards each other all around. Cause I think they all really do want the best for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will totally agree with that. I think I've been one from the beginning of, I guess, the breakup with Sierra to him getting with Danielle right after. I think it's I think it's totally possible to feel for Sierra and how, and feel, her feelings are valid, but also see Danielle and Michael are a better match. I think it's
Yeah.
possible to feel those two things. I think, um so yeah, I mean, I don't know, I hope that they have a good conversation. I think Michael will be able to express himself well. That's what I'm expecting from tonight, and I hope Sierra just accepts it and is able to move forward. But yeah, I think this episode really sealed the deal for me with Michael and Danielle. I think the fact that he gave her that compass that, that kind of represents his wife, and just like him not getting lost and that whole thing, and then him saying like, my wife would approve of you, like Laura would love you. That's huge. Like, I felt
Mm.
that. So I think that they'll be fine. I think Sierra will be able to, I think they'll have a good ending is what I'm hoping for. But one thing I have to say too is that, production really fumbled the bag with not just bringing Danielle down day one, because this could have been like what you were saying, Morgan, like to see this kind of other side of a really strong love that could be an engagement. Maybe, I don't know if they get engaged, but just like for us to see more of them from the beginning, in contrast with the Brandon and Serene that have that puppy love, could have been cool. But I love them. Wish them the very best.
Yeah, they're super cute. I do want to jump in now that we're talking about Brandon and Serene's kind of puppy love. Obviously, now that couples have decided to either split or go home, we're down to two couples, Brandon and Serene, and Victoria and Johnny. And it's time for fantasy suites. So they're having these like real conversations about where they're at, what they want in the future. Brandon talks to Serene about how he gave his all to Michelle and then felt like he kind of got the rug pulled out from underneath him. But he did say sometimes you don't know the answer why. You have to go through things or go through pain. And sometimes, there are hidden answers or reason behind everything, clearly pointing to because of that heartbreak, he was able to meet Serene. Serene says that she is super appreciative about how Brandon trusts her with his heart, and that he's decided that it's worth it to open up to her despite being so hurt. And Brandon says that she will only have to do this once. I'm assuming the engagement. He was kind of, it alluded to the engagement, and that he's not letting her go. And he said, usually people say home is where the heart is, but home is wherever Serene is. So, Kayla, what are your thoughts on Brandon and Serene, and can they kind of maintain this love in the real world? Because clearly from day one, they've been so set on each other. They have been so consistent. Brandon himself is just going above and beyond about how much he talks about how much he loves her, how beautiful she is. But as we've discussed, this is the kind of easiest it's going to get. We go back to jobs, we go back to daily stresses. So is it possible to maintain this?
Yeah, no, that's a great question and a great point, because I think that's something we see on this franchise a lot. It's like you burn hot and fast and then you burn out. But I think what sets Brandon and Serena apart and what inspires me with their love is that, yes, they have the feelings and the chemistry and like that kind of puppy love, just excitement for each other. But I think what Serene said about like the person Brandon is, and like, you trust me with your heart, I feel safe with you, like that is what I think, that's the depth that like I want, in my relationship. And that I think is going to set them apart for like when they have the not so good days and they get to reality, they'll like, they have that foundation of like, yo, you as a person, like I love you. I don't love just how you make me feel. You know what I mean? And so I think that like for that, I have a lot of confidence in them. And if they break up, then I'm just going to stop watching the show,
Yeah,
because I
I
don't know what else to
know.
do.
I was literally having the same exact thought, Kayla, as you said that. Like, I was thinking of all the couples that have broken up this past year, Clayton and Susie, Nate and
Oh my
Michelle. And I'm like,
goodness.
if Brandon and
Yeah.
Serene break up, Serene Brooke Russell, as Brandon would say, we cannot
Serene
handle
Brooke
it. We
Russell.
would not be able to handle it.
I'm
I want to
done. I'm
play
quitting.
devil's advocate for 1 second. And this is not how I feel, but I've seen the question asked. So I want to know your guys' opinions, because we saw Brandon also fall head over heels in love with Michelle. Now we've seen him fall head over heels in love with Serene. Does Brandon love love? And do you think that might
Mm.
be something to be weary of. I mean,
Concerned
I'm
about.
not
Yeah.
questioning his genuine feelings for Serene, but I also remember, how
Hmm.
devastated he was over Michelle, and he was saying a lot of the same things about Michelle. I don't know. Do you guys want to be conspiracy theorists with me?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it points to his relationship experience. I don't remember from Michelle's experience, Michelle's season, how much dating experience he has, or if he's just one of those people that like his heart is constantly on his sleeve. But yeah, he
Hmm.
definitely fell very hard very quickly for Michelle. He's doing the same thing with Serene. Now, is that going to continue to every other girl he potentially dates, or have we just been able to see his two loves of his life on television? I mean, that's the hard part. It's
Yeah.
like we're going to have to see what happens if he and Serene end up breaking up. Does he jump right into another relationship? Does he take some time off?
Hmm.
Yeah. It could be a good thing, but it could also
Yeah.
be a very dangerous thing, like you said.
No, yeah, I think it's a valid point, and it's something that I've myself. I mean, I just gushed about them, but I can say I've thought about that at the top of this season, kind of like, wow, Brandon. I think he's just, yeah, he's a passionate guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve. I think that to me, what's different again is like Paradise. You spend all day with this person, right? You're having way
Mm,
more time and conversations. And so I think he knows way more about Serene than Michelle. I think
Mm-hmm.
even before the season, he knew of Serene. He got to probably, find things out about her. And then on the show, he's spending so much more time having way more like conversations, as I was saying. And I think the other moment was just that set it apart was, I mean, the man cried when she came
yeah.
out
He's
for the
in love.
date. Like,
He's in love.
cried. And I mean, like, I think that is something where it's like, this is different. Like, yes,
Yeah.
I'm a passionate guy, and like I feel my feelings, and like, but I think that there's a spark, there's a magic with those two, and I think that can exist. I don't know.
Mhm.
I again, I have faith in them, but Brandon for sure, he loves love. I think that's totally true, but I think his feelings for Serene are legit.
Yeah, and I feel like there's aspects of his and Serene's relationship that point to it working even more than his and Michelle's. I know he was so into Michelle, but
Mm,
as a viewer, Michelle is so like she just feels like wise beyond her years, like first lady
yeah.
material, super composed, super like put together. And Brandon is so joyful and like almost has like this youthful energy and again loves love and
Hmm.
has that. So in my mind, when I saw him and Michelle together, it was almost like it felt like there was almost a big age gap when I knew there wasn't, or maybe just like a difference
Mhm.
Hmm.
in energy. And with Serene, she's
Hmm.
clearly very mature, similar to Michelle. They're both teachers, like, would trust her with my life. But I feel like she's more willing to be a little funnier, like, be goofier, meet him where he's at, if that makes sense. I just feel like they
Hmm.
work a little
Yeah.
bit better in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
100%.
agree.
Like I said, we are manifesting that these 2 stay together until the end of time.
Please,
They are not breaking up, they are getting married, and that's
Please.
that.
oh my gosh. Well, so we're manifesting that they stay together, but who knows where Victoria and Johnny will end up because we also see their fantasy suite date. And Victoria says she feels excited. She wants to talk about everything and get clarity on what they're going to do moving forward. She talks about her fear of abandonment, never felt like she deserved love, but, is clearly so into Johnny and sees such a future with him. Johnny says that he's hard on himself and is his worst critic. And Victoria's there to like really hype him up in that moment. She's saying he's the best guy ever and that she loves him. Like she is his cheerleader. And then Johnny has a comment that left me with a little bit of a pit in my stomach. And he says that an engagement is scary because it means he's done. Like done in the dating world. That's his like it's more fearful than
Mm.
exciting for him to like really commit to Victoria. So Morgan, as the engaged member of this panel, that's not what I would want to be hearing the night before I'm potentially getting a ring on my finger. Am I wrong?
No, you're not
Oof.
wrong at all. That definitely was a major red flag. I'll tell you what else to me was a red flag. And it was really jarring to me to hear him speak so negatively about himself. I
Mhm.
mean, saying,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember everything he said, but you guys know what I'm talking about, saying that he's his own worst critic, that he hates what he sees when he looks in the mirror. Like, that is
Yeah.
not it made me like worried for him, like,
Yeah.
is he
Mhm.
okay? And is he in a
Yeah.
place in life where he needs to be on reality television where people will be nitpicking
Mm-hmm.
every I'm doing it right now, and
Right.
B,
Mhm.
is he ready to love someone else? I mean, we hear that saying a lot, like, if you don't love yourself, how can you fully
Yeah.
love someone else? And I think we've seen that kind of constant struggle with Johnny throughout the entire season, where he's really not able to open up and he's not able to share his heart with Victoria. We've seen little glimpses of it, but I feel like all of these things are kind of pointing to the fact that this is not going to end the way maybe he in this moment thinks that it's going to end, with an engagement. Yeah, just red
Mhm.
flags all over the place, and I do really hope that he's okay. Those
Yeah.
sayings made me worried.
Yeah,
No, I was
definitely.
gonna say that it totally concerned me. I think, I mean, from to be a little vulnerable, like insecurity is a beast. Insecurity
Mhm.
is tough because it doesn't matter what someone says to you. It doesn't matter what other people think or say towards you, like or even what you see in the mirror, how hard you work on yourself. If you don't inwardly, like, if you don't have that security inwardly within yourself, like, there's no moving forward. You have to work on that. You have to face
Mhm.
that before, especially what Morgan just said, especially before you get into a relationship, and especially before you get engaged, and especially before you get engaged on TV, like where people
Mhm.
are looking at you and are watching you. Like, this is a lot. And so I'm watching Johnny, like, wow, this is kind of, I feel for him and I relate. I think we all have insecurities, but that is like, yo, I really need him to make sure he works on that. And I'm thinking about tonight, and I think, no, I'm not gonna too much spoilers, but we all kind of know the deal, with Victoria
Mhm.
and kind of
Yeah,
what happened. So it's like, I don't, I'm worried that what's the perception, and how is that going to affect him, and people maybe trying to point a finger, you know what I'm trying to say without saying
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
So yeah, I feel for Johnny. I hope that he'll be okay, and I hope that he's working through all of what he expressed to Victoria, because I mean, that's not going to go away unless you kind of unpack that and really uproot what's causing that. So,
Mhm.
totally.
but
Yeah, and not
Victoria was there
only
for him. It was nice to see that for sure. Yeah, go ahead, Allison.
Yeah. No, not only do we hope that he works through that himself, because like you said, Morgan, until you love yourself, how can you really love others? But it does put Victoria or whoever he's with in kind of a dangerous position where if their one
For
job
sure.
is to make them feel secure, be their cheerleader constantly, it's either going to result in them having far too much power in the relationship, where if they're going through a bad day, suddenly Johnny's destroyed and he can't possibly function,
Mhm.
or Victoria or whoever
Mm,
he's with has to put themselves on the back burner to be, the confidence for him. So it's just it
yeah.
you have to be fully confident and ready in yourself and meet someone halfway, because it's not fair on anyone to have to do that for someone else and truly just be their confidence. So yeah, I think we're all
Yeah.
saying very similar things. If we hope Johnny is able to work on that, push through that, see himself for the great guy that clearly Victoria sees him for. So we'll have to see what
Mm.
happens tonight. But I have a final question, because in the teaser for tonight, there is a clip of Jesse Palmer saying, "Do you guys want to get married right now?" We know that we have two
Oh
couples heading
goodness.
to an engagement. They cropped it in on Jesse so we can't see who he's talking to. My theory would be Brandon and Serene, because they feel like a much more confident couple at this point. But who do we think it is? Do we think someone up and got married on the beach? They're always looking for something new and fresh. So, final predictions.
Yeah, I mean, I
Morgan?
think they're probably talking to Brandon and Serene, but I don't think that they would get married right then and there. I also just don't like that. It feels grimy to me that, like, they would
Yeah.
put them in that situation. Like, come on, we get that it's reality TV, but also, like, pump the brakes, ABC, pump the brakes, producers. Like, you
I
don't have to
know.
always up the ante every 5 seconds. But no, I would think that Serene would be like, hell no. Like, I want my family here, I think she's like,
Yeah.
absolutely not. So I think they're faking us
Yeah.
out. That's my prediction.
I hope so. God, I hope so. I think that just, yeah, it's super invasive for them to ask them, like, ask them that on the spot. If it is Brandon and Serene, I had a theory that it could be, when me and Zach were talking about the promo, I had a theory that it could be like, you know how they bring some of the older couples back? Like, I don't know if like Hannah G
Oh,
and
yeah.
Dylan came or someone like that, and maybe they asked them. But I just feel like even them, they would say no. Like, I don't know who is so gung-ho for, you know, their Paradise as a Paradise alum that they would literally get married on the beach and like no one's there. I don't
Yeah.
know. I have no idea, but I hope that Brandon and Serene say no, because that's kind of
Too
giving
much.
like,
Yeah. It's a
yeah,
little
like
rushed,
you
and
want
they've
a real
already had their
wedding.
whole relationship and engagement on a show without their families involved. I'm with you guys. I wouldn't want them to go a step further and not involve friends and family. But like you said, Kayla, maybe it's an alum, maybe it's another couple. There was a lot that was filmed this year that we didn't see. You know, we heard that other couples were
Mm,
going down to the beach, like Clayton and Susie. I believe Joe and Serena at one point went down. Like, there was so much, despite us having, like you said, extra episodes, so much that was cut. Obviously, there's going to be so much that's cut from tonight being filmed, because that's
mm-hmm.
like going to be down to what, an hour and a half of reunion footage, when in reality we filmed for like 12 or 13 hours. So much
Oh
is
my
being jammed into
goodness.
such a small window. So maybe we'll see some extra clips shown tonight. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, that is our recap of last night's episode, part 1 of the Bachelor in Paradise finale. We, of course, want to know what you guys think, so make sure to put all of your comments down below and give us any of your predictions for tonight, for the reunion, for who gets engaged, does anyone get married. And before you go, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any of our future videos. I'm your host, Allison Van Dam, joined today by Morgan Wright and Kayla Thompson. You can come find us on all of our social medias if you want to come say hello. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.